morning, Greater Community Temple. My name is Kristen Paxton, and for those of you who are new to our ministry, welcome. I am the instructor for the launch sessions within our SET program here at GCT. SET stands for Sunday Empowerment Training, our version of Sunday School with a twist. It has been proven to be the most systematic way for studying the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelations. Within our SET program, we have multiple classes that are categorized by age group. The 18 to 29-year-old class is what I'm so proud to be a part of. It's our launch sessions. Launch stands for Learning and Understanding Necessary Christ-like Habits. In lieu of all that's going on, I am so grateful for a pastor like Bishop Brandon B. Porter, who understands the severity and the essentialness of Sunday school. He said, let's not only take our worship experience live, but let's take Sunday school live as well. So here I am. With that being said, let's get into it. But first, stop and push the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can stay updated with all things GCT. Sit back, relax, and take your notes. This Sunday, our lesson is entitled God's Just Servant. We're coming from Isaiah 42, verses 1 through 9. The Bible truth is that Isaiah prophesies about God's servant who will restore justice, the coming Messiah. By the end of this lesson, we will evaluate the concept of the Messiah. We will sense the wonder of Jesus' role as a servant to the nations, and we will imitate Jesus as a servant of God who executes justice. Okay, so before we start reading, I like to get a little bit of context before I get into the content. Usually I ask myself multiple questions before I dive into the word, so I'll get a better understanding about what I'm about to read. The first question I ask myself is, where are we? And this is from the aspect of where we are in the layout of the Bible, as well as the geographical location of the people that the writer is speaking to. So, when it comes to Isaiah, he is a major prophet. So we're in the Old Testaments of the Bible, in the major prophet section. The difference between a major and a minor prophet is nothing more than the length of the book. No one's greater than the other. It's just how much the author wrote. From a geographical aspect, we are in Jerusalem, which is in Judah, just south of Israel. So now that we have an idea of where we are, I then ask myself, who is the writer? What did he stand for? What was his theme? And I'm going to read to you a couple of the notes that I took down about Isaiah. The first thing is Isaiah means God is salvation. The earliest recorded event in his life is his call to prophecy, which is found in the 6th chapter of Isaiah. The vision that made him a prophet is described in first-person narrative, so he is the one recounting. According to this account, he saw God and he was overwhelmed by the contact with his divine glory and holiness. He became agonizingly aware of God's need for a messenger to the people. And despite his own sense of inadequacy, he says, God, here I am, send me. So with that being said, let's get into the demographic of the people that he's going to speak to. The next question I ask myself is, what is the current state of the people? This question could cover a multitude of questions such as, what is their economic status? Are they in good standing with God or bad standing with God? Are they in a place of peace or calamity? Well, right now, Israel has been taken captive by the Babylonians. They have lost their temples, their systems, and everything has been taken away. They are in a time of crisis, and when we look at the term crisis, it means a time of intense struggle or danger. Does that sound familiar with everything that's going on? Wow, even now with everything that's going on, everything is new, and it can cause us to question, what in the world is God doing? What is he up to? Now, even our worship experiences are different. They've gone online, and we are just in a state of questioning. We are wondering what is happening. So during this time, the Lord sends Isaiah to speak encouragement and hope during this time of chaos, and to speak life into the future that is to come. Let's read. It says, behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Looking at the first part of that verse, I really want to go in depth about how, first of all, Isaiah is talking about a future king to come that is literally going to save the Israelites, God's just servant, hence the title. He is referring to a man named Jesus. When we first start off, it says, behold my servant. I love that because the word my is possessive form, with God literally claiming this just servant. He's saying that he belongs to me. He's literally endorsing this servant that is to come. He is confirming that he was indeed sent by God. It says, whom I uphold, mine elect, which means he is God's chosen one. In whom my soul delighteth, I have put my spirit upon him. When it says his soul delights in him, he is literally pleased with this servant. I love how it says, I have put my spirit upon him, because this shows the concept of the Trinity. The phrase my spirit is referring to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit equips and works through people to accomplish a given task. So this right here shows that this servant is going to complete his task. Now the second part of verse 1, it is the start of a list of characteristics that the servant Jesus will possess. And it is such a wonderful list that we as leaders in the church should definitely pattern after. The first thing it says is, he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. So basically this is justice during chaos. Verse 2, he shall not cry nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the streets. This is so powerful. When it says that this servant that's to come, which is literally God's chosen one, it says he shall not cry nor lift up. He's going to come in and he's going to be meek and modest. He's going to come in and have a quiet demeanor. A very modest entry, as we see when he was first born in the manger. He has a very gentle character. And let's not confuse all of these characteristics with the term weak, because meek means strength under control. So he's going to bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He's going to not cry out or lift up, nor is he going to cause his voice to be heard in the streets. A lot of time we go out and we're just very adamant about being seen. Here we are shown that this servant is not going to be of himself, but of others. Verse 3, a bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. Now when I looked up what a reed was, it was defined as a tall, slender-leaved plant of the grass family, and it grows near water or marshy ground. It has a very thin structure, and it cracks very easily. It's very easily damaged. When it falls, it loses its value. But here, it's symbolic by saying when the servant comes upon it, it handles it with care. It doesn't toss it to the side, but it shows concern. He doesn't break it down with his words, but he shows restoration. It shows that he is the source of life, and he displays mercy. Back in the day, they used lanterns, and the smoking flax is basically, the flax is the lamp wick. It's what you light when you light up like a candle. And in this text, it's describing the flax as a smoking flax, meaning it's burning out because the oil has burned out. The flame can now be blown out easily. This is referring to frailty and weakness. The servant won't quench the flickering light. He will instead sustain and uphold the weak. So a lot of times we go out throughout our everyday lives and we feel like we have lost our oil, we've lost our purpose. But the way God is describing, or the way the prophet is describing how this servant will handle a person who feels like they've lost their oil, their purpose. It says he's not going to blow it out. He's not going to diminish their light, but he's going to sustain them and give strength to this smoking flax. So the symbolic nature of the bruised reed and the smoking flax is referring to God's healing ministry. And a lot of us might be in a time where we might need God's restoration. And I'm so glad that we serve a God who is able to say, just ask what it is that you need from me. All you have to do is say, Lord, fill me and give me more oil. I need to be sustained. And he's not going to blow you out. He's not going to toss you to the side because you've lost value. But he's going to say, here I am. I'm going to give you everything that you need during this time. The fourth characteristic that this servant will possess is he shall bring forth judgment unto truth, says the Bible. Basically, this right here is echoing verse 1, saying that the servant will establish a justice system. So, here, the fifth thing says that he shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Right here is a play on words from the reference of the bruised reed and the smoking flax. When we talked about the bruised and the smoking flax, we talked about the frailty and the weakness of its nature. Right here, on the contrary, it's showing that this servant that's coming is not like man. It's showing the divinity of the servant Jesus. His task won't be easy, but he won't grow weary and he won't faint until his task is complete. So, the sixth characteristic that he displays is till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Right here, setting judgment shows that the salvation is not subjected to just the Jews. Thus saith God the Lord, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he hath given breath unto the people upon it, and the spirit of them that walketh therein. Right here, the prophet again introduces the one who sends the servant. And with this introduction, it reverts our attention right back to God. Verse 6 says, I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. Right here, first I want to point out the word righteousness. Righteousness means what is right, what is just, normal, or standard. It can also be translated as justice or equity. God calls his servant righteous, a light and a covenant to all. So that shows also that it's not, the servant that's to come is not just subjected to the Jews. He's going to be for everybody. So here in verse 6, he says he's going to hold the servant's hand and keep him. The word will hold thine hand is similar to the meaning whom I will uphold. The Lord is going to sustain this servant. And again, it calls our attention back to the fact that whatever this coming servant is going to endure is not going to be easy. But he comes right back and says that he will keep thee. God will more than just hold the servant's hand. He says he's not even going to let go of it. This shows that he's going to guide and protect the Messiah and be with him always. Here the latter part of verse 7 says, to open the blind's eyes and to bring out the prisoners from prison and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Right here it's talking about the reference that the Messiah is coming to open the eyes of the blind that have been blinded by their sin. Not so much as a physical healing from being blind, although the Messiah did do that. Here it's more of a reference that the Messiah is coming to open them, open their eyes for the love that they have rejected that the Lord has offered to them. Verse 8 says, I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Right here it says I am. This shows the authority of God. He is not a franchise organization, as one translation says. He will not attach his name to just anyone. And then lastly, we come to verse 9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. This verse is basically reassurance. It is assurance that he is faithful, and everything that he said in the past will come to pass. So all in all, the Israelites, the people of God, they're in this uncomfortable place, this uncomfortable space of exile. They're in a crisis in the midst of chaos, and they really want to understand if God still loves them. God's just servant was sent to serve. God always knows just what we need, even in the midst of a crisis. He knows what's going to happen. He knows what happened, and he knows what's going to happen in the future. This servant is active with us, and he shows great community with us. The Holy Spirit is within us, and he will not allow us to stay oppressed. We as leaders have to make sure that we are continuously making sure that we are displaying those 6 characteristics that Isaiah named in the passages that we just read. All right, guys, I've come to the close of my lesson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep our pastor in prayer so that he can continuously hear from the Lord. Make sure to hit the subscription button to make sure that you're updated on all things GCT. Lastly, please share this video with anyone that you think will benefit from it.